everyone's been here for a little while yesterday, but I need everybody to create some energy. So this is what I'm going to do, because I'm going to bring a lot of energy on stage. I know this audience can do a hell of a lot better than what just happened when I walked on stage. If I'm going to give it my all, I need you to give it your all. So we're going to try this again. All right? Ladies and gentlemen, Tim Grover. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. That's it. Let's go. That's lesson number one right there. Every day, every single day, you have to learn to create energy, not only for yourself, but for the individuals around you. Because you have so many individuals out there, you have so many things in life that drain your energy every single day. This is a new concept, this is a new thing that everybody must learn. You have to learn to create that energy, because the more energy you can create, the more you can put into other individuals, the more you can expect from yourself. But it's something that must be done every single day, every single moment, because some individuals, some companies, some actions require more energy than the other. You have to have an abundance of it every single day, every single day, every single moment, in order to function at your highest level, to be able to be the most productive, to be able to get those results that you want over and over again, not only for yourself, but for your loved ones and for your family. So the first thing that I want everybody to do right now is close your eyes for a second. I want everybody in here to remember a moment where things were just unbearable. They were just unbearable. Now, think about a day. It was just a bad day. It was an awful, awful day. Everything went wrong. Every possible thing that could happen went wrong. Now think of a moment where you just didn't think you were going to make it. You know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to quit. Well, I got a news flash for everybody in here. Open your eyes. You defeated every single one of those moments. Because you're here. You are here. So I want everybody to stand up, and I want you to give yourself the biggest round of applause, because all those things you've overcome and you made it to this point here. Look at the person next to you. Transfer that energy into that individual next to you. Yes. I want you to remember those moments. I want you to remember those things. That's a superpower that each individual in this room has. When everybody says it can't be done, you can't do this anymore, you're not good enough. It's that superpower that got you to this point. It is special to you. It's unique to each individual in this room. Make sure you constantly fuel it on a regular basis so you can continue to win. So you can continue to have more of those wins. Nobody is going to create energy for you unless you create it for yourself. You have to create it for yourself. The most successful people, the individuals that change the world, the people that are obsessed, they create that energy, they transfer it into the other individuals. And when they transfer it into the other individuals, that individual finally learns how to transfer that energy back. Now, what are we here to do today? I'm here to make everybody better. Very simple. I'm here to make everybody better. How? By giving you a unique understanding of the language of winning. It's a new language. I know we have a lot of individuals in here who are bilingual, who speak multiple languages. Just like all languages have different dialogues, they've evolved. The language of winning constantly evolves every single day. So I see we have a lot of successful individuals in this room, a lot of successful individuals, but everybody wants a little bit more. They want a little bit more. So what I want to do today is I just want to change the way you see things just a little bit. How the things that you've been taught over and over again, the things that you've heard, the same cliches that you've heard that everyone gets fired up about are not allowing you to go to that next level. So we're going to do a lot of audience participation in here. So you'll be able to stand up. You'll be able to yell, scream. If you disagree with something that I don't say, please, voice your opinion. I don't care. I know more about winning, and I've taught more individuals how to win on a consistent basis, so I know this works. I know this works. So, if you're interested in taking yourself or your business to the next level, stand up and give yourself a round of applause. Right? Right. It's awesome. All right. Now, you can sit back down. There can be a lot of standing and sitting. All right. If you're obsessed with taking yourself and your business to the next level, stand up, give yourself a round of applause. All right, you know how you see people with these mentalist individuals that come up there and they play tricks with your mind? Well, guess what? That's what I'm about to do. All right, I'm about to F with everybody's head up in here. So let me ask you this question. Which one is it? Are you interested or are you obsessed? All right? Do you think Michael Jordan was just interested in winning championships? You think Kobe Bryant was just interested in basketball? You think Jeff Bezos was just interested in shipping packages? You think Elon Musk is just interested in whatever the hell he's interested in today? Those individuals are obsessed. They are obsessed. In order to be the best, in order to reach that next level, you can no longer be interested. Interested is a hobby. You can be interested in many things. Oh, I'm interested in reading. I'm interested in gardening. I'm interested in cars. You can fall in and out of your interest. But your obsession stays with you all the time. You have to become obsessed. Interested people watch obsessed people change the world. You think about the technology boom, all the things that happen, with everything that's going on, those individuals were obsessed. They were obsessed. They weren't interested. And you know what obsessed people do? Obsessed people give interested people something to talk about. They give you something to talk about. Everybody who's obsessed in their business, in their field of action, they are the topic of the conversation of the employees at work. They're the water cooler conversations. They're the individuals people are texting about. Because they're so engrossed in your life with your obsession with what you're doing, they don't have time for their own because they're interested in what's going on with them. Now let's look at this. All right. When the video came on, it said, I'm not a motivational speaker. I am not a motivational speaker. Everybody in this room is already motivated. You're here. The people that need motivation are the empty chairs. They're the ones that need motivation. There's a huge difference between motivation and elevation. I'm about elevating mindsets. I'm about elevating individuals. I'm about elevating teams. Motivation is what you require from somebody else. You watch a motivational video, you listen to a motivational speech. It's what you require from somebody else. And you know what? When you require something from somebody else, that means they have that control. They have that control. Motivation is a feeling. It's a feeling. You know, you have a lot of motivational speakers. They come on stage, they come up, they get you all fired up, they get you pumped up, they get you jumping around, they get you doing all these things. And then you look at it, and then they get to the end, and everybody yells out, "Let's go," and everybody runs out the door, and you get out the door and like, well, where in the fuck are we going? Let's go has to have a destination. Where are we going? Where are we going? Now, when you're elevated, an elevated mindset is completely different. An elevated mindset is not what you require or demand from somebody else. It's what you demand of yourself. It's when your obligation to yourself is greater than anybody else's obligation to them. An elevated mindset does not let your feelings get in the way. When people come in, man, I don't feel motivated today. I don't feel like going to the gym. I don't feel like going to work. I don't feel like getting up. I don't want to make calls. I don't want to do emails. That's your feelings. That's your feelings. That's motivation. You're looking for somebody else. Come on, man, you got to do this. You got to do this. You got to do this. All right. A person with an elevated mindset, it's a state of mind. It's a state of mind. They don't need somebody else to tell them to get out of bed. They don't need to tell them there's more to do. They don't need to tell them you have to make phone calls. Motivated individuals have not mastered the art of rejection. Elevated individuals have mastered the art of rejection. Because when you master the art of rejection, you understand that your mind is always stronger than your feelings. Every individual in this room has been rejected. There isn't a guy sitting in this room, probably going all the way back to the 4th or 5th grade, that asked an individual out to a dance, a date, whatever it was, and got rejected. Did you stop? No, you didn't stop. When you show a piece of property, or you try to get a contract, and you get rejected, do you stop? No, you continue to go. You continue to go. But you know what happens is as life progresses, we forget about the things that got us there. We forgot about the things we did to be able to sit in this chair, to be this successful, to be able to want more. Think about when you first got with your significant other. How attentive you were to each other. Think about when you first got into this occupation. How excited you were. The things that you did over and over again. Are you still doing those things? I worked with Michael Jordan for 15 years. Man, every day I had that opportunity, I was excited as the first day I got it. I was excited as the first day I got it. I've done that with all my clients. I've never let complacency set in. Never. And you know what excitement is? Excitement is creating that energy. That's all it is. It's creating that energy. You may have to use a different type of energy, but if you create that energy every single day, you will treat things as with the same enthusiasm, the same excitement, the same passion, the same love as you did from day one. Because a lot of individuals, you forgot what you did to get here. Every single practice as a professional basketball player, not in high school, not in college, as a professional basketball player. Michael Jordan started every single practice off with a basic chest pass. The most fundamental principle in the sport of basketball, a chest pass. Over and over and over again. You can even see videos of him on YouTube before he goes out to a game and he's doing like that. MJ, why? Why? You've mastered that thing over and over again. Why are you doing that? I don't understand. It was the first thing I loved about basketball. It was the joy. It was the joy of the fundamentals. So I have to remind myself every single day. That's my energy. The most fundamental principle. Over and over again. And as we get older, you know what happens? We lose the ability to play in the sandbox. Remember how creative you were in the sandbox? We might have individuals that are too young now out here, you don't even know what the hell a sandbox is. All right? It's a box with a bunch of sand that you could throw out. There was usually more sand out of it than it was in it. But you did it. You did creative things. You didn't care what anybody thought. You went out there. You were creative. You had fun. You weren't worried about getting dirty. You weren't worried about who's looking around, who's watching you, who's doing these different things. And if you're around my age, you understand how important a sandbox was, because if you ever got a scrape on your leg or you fell or anything, and I'm not recommending that you do this now, but the sand was the quickest way to stop the blood. We would take the pile of sand and we'd throw it on the blood and we'd go keep playing. Now what happens is we want protection. We want to be protected from everything. Remember, when you're good, you learn. When you're great, you understand. When you're unstoppable, you master. You master. But every turn of the economy, every turn of the environment, every time you wake up in the morning, you may have to go back to learning. Because things have evolved in this business. Things are evolving in every single business. Have you adapted? Have you overcome? Have you understand what you have to go back to learn? After every single championship one of my athletes won over and over and over again, they always came to me. They had their celebration. They celebrated hard. They didn't celebrate long. And it was like, what's next? What do I have to add in order to get to this feeling again? What do I have to do? I got to learn a new skill. I got to learn a new move. I got to become more efficient. They're going to change some of the rules. I'm no longer going to be able to do this. They're going to add another referee. They're going to add a timeout. They're going to add all these different things. So there's a constant adjustment of the things that you mastered, that have made you unstoppable, which you need to continue to work on. And there's the idea of knowing I have to go back over here to good. And then when I can go to good, then I can go to great because I understand it. Then when I've done it over and over and over and over and over again, now I can master it. You hear this thing all the time. Don't think. Just go out there. Just go out there. Don't think. It takes years and years and years of thinking not to be able to think. Not to be able to think. And when you're that good, thinking is a distraction. Thinking is a distraction. When you're at the top of your game, when you're at the top of your industry, and I'm not talking about the 1%ers. I'm talking about the people that are even above the 1%. I'm talking about the 0.001 individuals. Anytime that you have a question, they got the answer. They got the answer. Because they did years and years and years and years of thinking. And if they don't have the answer, they will get the answer for you. And what happens is we've lost our safety net. So what happens is in all lines of work, especially in this line of business, years ago, it was like when you were on a safari trip. If any individual's ever taken a safari, you know, you're in this beautiful Range Rover, it's got bars on it, there's individuals with guns, and you're poking at the animals and you're teasing them and so forth because you know they can't get to you. And you know what happened? Boom. You hit a bump. And then you hit another bump. And then you hit a third bump. And you know what it did? It launched your butt out of the truck. And now it's just you and that lion. You and that rhino, you and that elephant looking right at you. The safety net is gone. And if you haven't mastered the skill set to deal with that adversity, to have adversity tolerance, that's why you're stuck. And that safety net is not coming back. It's not coming back. Don't waste your time on the old days. You remember the time? No. No, I don't. You know, I get this question asked to me all the time when I'm on stage, when I do a little fireside chat, or I'm doing a podcast, or I'm doing an interview. People always come to me, what would you tell, if you could go back in time, what would you tell your 20-year-old self? You know what I tell them? What the hell are you doing back here? You can't change any of this. Why are you wasting time back here? Why are you thinking about the past? Why are you thinking about yesterday? Why are you thinking about last year? Yesterday is not looking for you today. It's not. It's not. Tomorrow's going to show up. Whether you show up or not, tomorrow is definitely going to show up. There's not a single individual in this room. If you have a contact in your phone and their name is yesterday, raise your hand. Exactly. No one's ever gotten a call from yesterday. The only time you get a call from yesterday is when you start to listen to the shouts of everything else that's going around you. You're so busy listening to the shouts of everything else, all the environments, all the noise, everything that's going around, you forget to listen to the most important voice, the one you haven't had a conversation with in such a long time because you haven't been able to hear it. And that's your own voice, because your own voice talks to you in a whisper. And it's the outside noise. Its only job is to make sure you cannot hear your own voice. For you to not trust the one individual that you should always trust. When we go back to when I said, think about a moment where it was a bad day, where things were just unbearable. Who pulled you out of that? You did. You did. When you finally stopped reaching your hand out for somebody else to help you up. When you finally decided yourself, yes, I have to create energy because it's so much easier to have somebody reach out and help you up. Because the energy you have to create there is minimal. But when you got to help yourself up, you got to create a lot of energy. You got to create a lot of energy. There's not a single individual in this room. You're going to get hurt. You're going to fall. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to fail. You're going to do those things. But you know what amplifies those things? You know what's worse than falling? You know what's worse than hurting? You know what's worse than frustration? You know what's worse than failing? Complaining about it. Because when you complain about it, you continue to give it life. Complaining is that energy that those things need to keep you there. The more you complain about your failures just like, yeah, keep fueling me, keep fueling me. When you're in pain, you complain about it. Hey, keep fueling me. This is perfect. This is perfect. This is what I need to keep you in this state. Think about all the things that you've been complaining about. It's just drained your energy. It's kept you in the same place over and over and over again. When they talk about that self-inflicted wounds, complaining is the biggest thing about self-infliction. Now, you want to handle failure, you want to handle knocking down? I'm going to show you right now. And you hear this all the time. When you get knocked down, make sure you jump right back up. Just jump right back up. I disagree with that 100%. Because if you jump right back up, you're standing up the exact same individual. And you're going to get knocked down again. You're going to get knocked down again. You get knocked down exactly the same way, over and over and over again. When you get knocked down, stay down there for a second. Understand why you got knocked down. Understand why you got knocked down. Because every time you stand up, you have to stand up a different individual. So when an individual gets knocked down there, stay down there for a minute. Because the next time you stand up, you're going to stand up stronger. Then when you get knocked down again, stay down there. You're going to stand up more intelligent. You're going to get knocked down again. Stay down there. You're going to stand up more competitive. Then you get knocked down again. Why am I down here? Now I know. stand up again. You'll be more resilient. And every time you stand up, here's a unique thing about every time you fall and stand up again, is you have to spend less time on the ground. You have to spend less time on there. And every time you stand up, you know what people are going to say? Man, there's something different about that individual. Man, there's something, well, we didn't see that in that. We didn't see that in that person before. We didn't see that. Then they fall down, then they knock you down again. Then you stand up, they're like, whoa. Then they knock you down again. And every time you stand up, there's something different about you. And you know what different does? Different scares people. Different scares people. But you know what it does? It attracts the right ones. There's nothing normal about success. There's nothing normal about winning. And we have successful individuals in this room. We have winners in this room. So that means everybody in this room is a little bit off. Everybody in this room is a little bit crazy. And you know what the definition of crazy is? The definition of crazy is being able to see and do things that nobody else can see. That's all crazy is. If you haven't been called crazy, you've done nothing in your life. If you haven't been called off, if you haven't been called insane, people always ask, man, people go, man, what's wrong with Grover? You know what my answer is? Everything. Everything. I'm not afraid to be off. I'm not afraid to speak my mind. I know when to speak. I know when to be quiet. You can't break me. You know why you can't break me? I've been broken so many times. I've been broken so many times, you can't break me anymore. You cannot break me. So what happens is when you get up and you start, and this is a great runway, boy. This is a great runway for a chase. And everybody in this room, we're all chasing something. Everybody in here is chasing something. Most individuals in here are chasing a new level of greatness, a new level of happiness, a new level of success, a new level of wealth, whatever it may be. We're all chasing things. And think about it. When you're chasing something, you're going to stumble and fall. And you're going to get up and you start looking behind you, start looking in front of me like, who in the hell? I didn't see any obstacle. Boom, you get back in this chase again, you stumble and fall. You look around. Man, what's going on here? And you keep going and you keep going and you keep going and you keep stumbling and falling all over again. And you can't figure out what's happened. Before you get in that race to chase greatness, and this is extremely important, you have to deal with what's chasing you. What is chasing you? Because most of the times when you stumble, when you fall, you're causing your own failures. You're causing your own fall. You're causing your own demise. You are literally causing it because you haven't dealt with what's chasing you. You know, we want to put so many things of our past, of who we are, in the closet. And some of us have put the best part of ourselves and hidden away because we're afraid to be judged. We're afraid for individuals to see that side of us. You see so many individuals, you see athletes, you see business individuals, you say, man, that person's a beast. Everybody in here will tell me, man, they're a beast until it's time to do beastly-like things. But any individual that you've ever called a beast, that you've ever seen, do things at the highest level, they dealt with what's chasing them. So when you're in that race, you're never going to, that finish line is constantly going to keep moving. It's going to constantly keep moving farther and farther away. And the only way you're going to be able to cross that line before it moves again is if you take a moment and whatever's chasing you, you sit there, you let it catch you, and you acknowledge it. Because what you have to do is instead of running from it, you have to make it your ally. Because sometimes you're running away from the best part of you. You're running away from the individual that understands you better than anybody else. This has nothing to do with being nice. This doesn't mean you have to be nasty to individuals. But if you don't know exactly who you are, you're never going to be able to use all of you. You're never going to be able to use all of you. So what happens? You have to make a partnership. We're looking for so many individuals. Listen, we have partners in business, we have partners with associates, we have partners that we clientele. But once you let that individual catch you, the part of you, now you start forming a partnership with your decisions. You start forming a partnership with your decisions. Because you have one individual, which is you, who wants to make one decision, and you have the other individual over here, which is also you, who wants to make another decision. When you form a partnership, you make one decision. My decision is to be great. My decision is to be unstoppable. My decision is to win. My decision is to whatever it may be. Then after you make that decision, you got to commit to it. How many times have you talked yourself out of a commitment? You've talked yourself out of a commitment. Who in here writes contracts for a living, in their business? Who writes contracts for a living? All right, raise your hand. Listen. Put them up in the air. See it. All right. How do you feel when somebody breaks that contract? How does it feel? Irritating. Is that the best word you can use for it? Pissed off. There you go. All right. Is anybody in here from HR? No. All right. So you're free to use whatever language you want to use. All right. So think about how you feel when somebody breaks that contract, breaks that commitment to you. Everything's done. Handshake, everything's negotiated, all the way it's done, it's over with. And they say they're not going to do it. You should be more pissed off with breaking a commitment to yourself. And people do it all the time. People do it all the time. You know, I'm from the fitness industry. You know how many exercise programs and diet programs start on a Monday? Well, I'm going to start on Monday. And what happens with a commitment is the only thing you commit to is moving the start line. You move the start line. And the commitment says, I'm not moving the start line. I'm not moving the start line. Then after you've done that, after you've made a partnership with your decisions, with your commitment, now comes the part everyone talks about. Now you got to form a partnership with your actions. It's easy to do the things you want to do when you feel like doing them. And you hear this all the time. You got to love, if you love everything about your job, you'll never work a day in your life. Does any individual in here love everything about what they do? Absolutely not. I got one person that does. 90%. Okay, that's not 100%. I'll take that acknowledgement, 90%. Who has kids in here? Raise your hand, kids. Do you love your kids every single day? Some days they just frustrate that. Yeah. Well, and if you have older parents like I had, they had different methods of disciplining us than we do now. Right? And some of us wish we can go back to those days. All right? But you don't have to love everything about what you do. But this is what you have to do. You have to create that, you have to crave that end result so intensely that the work that you put in is irrelevant. You know you have to do the work. You know you have to do the process. You know how I love individuals, they come in and they tell you on stage, you got to outwork the competition. It's early mornings, it's late nights, you got to do all these things. We all know that. We all know that. It's just like people that say, follow your passion. Well, follow your passion. How about act on your passion? Your passion is like, okay, where are we going? Your passion says, let's go. Now it's asking you for direction. Now that you form a partnership with those three things, then you form a partnership with your success. You form a partnership with your success. And most individuals, the reason you're not as successful as you want to be is because you're afraid of success. You're afraid of what success is going to bring. There's a certain level of success we all want, we can all handle. But you know what happens when you become more successful, what happens? The pressure starts to mount. The pressure starts to mount. The voices around you start to grow. Let me tell you something about pressure. Okay. Pressure is a privilege. It is a freaking privilege. The best individuals thrive under pressure. They look for pressure situations. Pressure defines who we're not and who we are and who we're not. But it also defines who we can become. Who we can become. If somebody puts you under a pressure situation, that means they believe in you. Do you believe in yourself? Do you believe in yourself? And you know how you handle pressure is you put yourself under pressure situations under a daily basis. The only difference between pressure and stress is pressure you decided not to deal with. And we have pressure every single day. You have pressure every single day. So if you deal with that pressure every single day, the likelihood of it turning into stress is less. But if you don't deal with pressure every single day, it turns into stress. And you know what happens when it turns into stress? You stop believing in yourself. You stop gambling on yourself. You have so many times. Now, we have so many ways. How many individuals in here have placed a bet, whether in Vegas, on one of the sport bets things? Raise your hand. I'm not here to judge you. Okay? I used to be a bookie back in the day, so. You're so willing to bet on somebody else and sit there and watch intensely for a success that you have no control over, and you feel pressure, and you're yelling at the TV set or wherever you're at, but you won't bet on yourself. When was the last time you bet on yourself? When was the last time you bet on yourself? Everything. When I started with my clients, every situation that you have to attack, every situation that you have to win, it always starts with doubt. It always starts with doubt. You think when I walked into my client's house and sat down and presented this to them, presented my plan to make them a better athlete, physically, mentally, like, man, who in the hell is this guy? Who in the hell is this? When I started working for Kobe, one of the reporters asked him, hey, he goes, I heard you hired MJ's guy. You know, he goes, what do you think about him? He goes, he ain't done shit for me yet. He goes, ask me at the end of the year. You can't build a reputation on what you're going to do. You got to go do it. You got to go do it. So many people like to talk about their reputation, and now it's so easy with social media. Hell, you can put anything on there. I know the guy, literally knows the guy. He owns a plane. When his plane is sitting at the airport, when it's sitting in the hangar, you know what he does? He leases this out to social media influencers to allow them to take pictures on the plane. He said, well, he has literally a plan. You come in, you can take a picture on the plane. I can have the food set up for you. He has a little pricing package in there. You want a pilot standing by? He'll get somebody that's dressed for you. What kind of food you want in there? We'll get the engines revved up. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because what are you faking? What are you faking? I'll give a great example. Everyone, pull your phones out. Go to your social media profile picture. None of you look that good. All right? None of you look that good. I literally did a conference that there was a fan that said, hey, send me a message, so forth. My agent and business partner is sitting somewhere in this audience. And she was like, if you have a moment, I'd love to say hello to you, so forth. Yeah, no problem. So I'm standing in line, checking in the hotel. This woman comes up to me and introduces herself. I said, nice to meet you, Doug. Can I take a picture? No problem. I did that all. And my agent is like, she's laughing. She's kind of holding her laughter in and just got this big grin on her face. And she's like, you know who that was, right? I said, no, I don't know who that was. She goes, that's the individual that kept sending you messages on social media. I said, no, you got to be kidding me. I literally took the picture and went up to that person and was just like, I had to double check. That told me so much about that individual. that told me so much about that individual. Because what happens is that shield that we constantly look at all the time, that will say things to individuals, will text things, will comment on somebody's social media, but we don't have the courage to say those things in person. We don't have the courage to show up with our authentic self. Think about when you were a child, how free you were. We were all born relentless. We were taught to relent. You ever try to negotiate with a 2-year-old? You got no chance. I don't care how great your selling skills are. You can't negotiate with a 2-year-old. They were so free. If you have grandkids now, you know, they go to the store, they're dressed, they're full of laughter, they're full of energy, they're doing all these things. You know, we can't wait for our children to walk. We can't wait for them to talk. You know, what months do like a baby start walking now? 10 months, 11 months, a year? All right, when do they start talking? I don't know. My kids are much older, so I don't know. Start talking, what, at 2? All right, so let's say start talking at 2. So what happens after that? The rest of the time as a parent, shut up, sit down. But all you do is you can't. When you see a baby, you send that picture where they're walking to everyone. To everyone. You send that picture of that child or grandchild's first words to everyone. How many individuals have sent a picture of their child just sitting down somewhere and said, look what I got my kid to do. And as we get older, we become more relentless because we're worried about what everybody else is. Man, what are they going to think? What are they going to say? How many individuals in your life, and this is extremely important, people ask, what's the key to success? Right. First of all, it's not a key. Right. It's a rusty combination lock where the numbers are all worn out. But here's the crazy part. Most individuals in here, you already have the first 2 digits of that combination lock. But that dial doesn't turn as easily. You can't see those numbers for that 3rd one. And you know what the crazy part is? Once you get that 3rd combination and that lock opens up, while you're busy celebrating, having a good time, that combination has already been changed. And now you got to earn all 3 numbers again. I can't put confidence inside of you. You know why? It's already there. I can't put greatness inside of you. You know why? It's already there. But for most individuals, that's exactly where it's going to stay. I can take your confidence. Other individuals can take your confidence. So if you're having an issue with being confident, you know exactly the moment where you decided to give someone permission to take your confidence. Because nobody can take something that's inside of you unless you give them permission. So if you have an individual or you know somebody that's lacking in confidence, remember when I talked about that chase? Unless you have confidence, you'll never be able to cross that finish line, and the next one, and the next one. So if you're lacking confidence, go get it back because it's yours. You know exactly the moment where you decided to let somebody take it. You know exactly the moment where you gave somebody permission. You know the exact event when it happened in. Go get it back. Go get it back. And then you have individuals, you have family members, you have friends. And I talked about complaining when you complain to yourself. I'm going to give an example of this. Who's ever been to a happy hour? Raise your hand. Everyone's been at a happy hour. Ooh, yeah, exactly. You know, happy hour. Watered down drinks, bad food. Who hangs out at happy hour? The most miserable people you know. All they ever do is complain about their families, they complain about their work, they complain about everything that's going on in their life. And they want to take you there, and they call it happy hour. Right? Who knows those individuals? Who knows those individuals that all they do is just constantly complain over and over? You just sit there and they just complain that at you. Raise your hand. Okay? Raise your hand. And if you didn't raise your hand, you are that person. Complaining does nothing. It just digs the pit even further. It digs it even further. Everything you need is already inside of you. It is. You're just afraid to use it. You're just afraid to use it. There's nobody in this room that has a right to judge anybody else. They don't. And the people that are judging you, the people that we have real estate people in here. All right, and I know you've heard this many times. The most valuable real estate is, between your ears, so forth. And it is. How many people in there are living rent-free in your real estate? How many people are in here? And when I talked about earlier about the combination, who has the key to your heart and shouldn't? Who has a key to your emotions and shouldn't? Who has a key to your actions and shouldn't? Who has a key to your thoughts and shouldn't? Take those keys back. Get rid of them. Make them combinations. And have those individuals in your life, have those mentors, have those significant others, have those people that are most important to you. They have to earn those combinations. They have to earn those numbers every single day. I had to earn those numbers with my clients every single day. I still have to. That's how you keep up. That's how you keep up with everything that's changing in the world. That's how you keep up and exceed the competition. Could I have everybody stand up, please? Put your hands on your heart. Your heart, not anybody else's. We talked about we started this with superpowers in the beginning. When I talked about, that was your superpower that got you out there, this is another one of your superpowers, that heartbeat. That heartbeat. All right. Understand something. That heartbeat is not promised, the next heartbeat is not promised to any individual in this room. Not a single individual in this room. So whatever your it is, go get it now. Go get it now. Because it has an expiration date. It has an expiration date. With each heartbeat, you have one less heartbeat to love. You have one less heartbeat for somebody to love you. You have one less heartbeat to succeed. You have one less heartbeat to share your success with somebody else. You have one less heartbeat to care about somebody. You have one less heartbeat for somebody to care about you. Be careful who you share those heartbeats with. Because you can't get them back. It's the most valuable commodity you have, and it's with you all the time. It's with you all the time. I trained Kobe Bryant for 9 years. For 9 years, every single time I saw him, I told him, we don't have time. Every single day, I wish I was wrong. I wish I was wrong. So whatever your it is, go get it now. Go get it now. Each individual in this room, you gave me something. You gave me the most expensive commodity that you own. Your heartbeats. For a full hour and some change. And most speakers make it about them. This event is not about me. This stage right now is not about me. It's about each individual in here. So with all my heartbeats, I want to thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.